birds and along with flowering plants appear. And CO2 is good. It's used by plants and exiled by humans. Again, these models that they have, they always put on these drastic changes over 100 years, which conveniently, I don't think any of us are going to be around in 100 years. So we're not going to know if they're right. And these leftists are calling, these scientists and leftists, because again, the left uses the science to justify policy changes. It's going to affect us, especially in the United States, a rich country. Who do you think is going to pay for the world to take carbon out of the atmosphere? Because if you think it's going to be Africa, China, or India, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. We're going to pay for this. We're going to pay for this. And just want to make sure that they're right. Because right now, I pay for a lot that the left wants. And they just keep adding more and more and more. So I'm concerned that they're truly accurate in what they're saying. Again, you know, these models that they project don't always line up. And in the second half of this, we're going to look more. I'm looking at it from history this time. We're going to look more. I'm going to foray into science and see if I can poke holes in the science that some of these climatologists use to generate their undisputable facts that Mr. Friedman keeps referencing. So if you're here in the second half of this, you'll hear more about that. But that's it from the historical perspective for me.
So I want to make something abundantly clear. Science does not deal in fact, as Gutt says. It deals in well-established theory. And something that makes us vastly different than the dinosaurs is that we are an established community with infrastructure and farmland. And as Mr. Gutt points out, perhaps the dinosaurs flourished during a warming period of sorts. Carbon dioxide levels have never been higher, and we are experiencing a warming period. And if Mr. Gutt is willing to concede and say, yes, that is the driving force behind climate change, and is welcoming that change, let me bring some disturbing news. As our climate warms, our weather patterns shift over critical areas that feed us. The breadbasket of the United States. History lesson. Do we want to experience another Dust Bowl? What will that do to our economy? Mr. Gutt pointed out that China and India might not want to pay for some of the carbon emitting that is taking place right now. But their people are paying for it. Their people are paying for it by buying bottled oxygen right now. We have clean air standards. However, our clean air standards are not controlling the amount of carbon dioxide that's being released into the air as much as they are the sulfur dioxide. You can look at unregulated countries right now and take a look at what it's doing to their population. You can look at what it's doing to their health care. How many people, by exact percentages, are dying off because of lung-related illnesses? Are we willing to go down that same route? Are we willing to say, yes, like the dinosaurs, we too can become extinct? I certainly hope not. I certainly hope not. And there's a lot of evidence to suggest that CO2 now, driving our industrial climate, can be regulated, and the cost of that, even by the Hoover Institute, which by the way is a Republican think tank, said that if there is an environmental regulation imposed on a community, it never costs as much as initially thought, because innovation drives change, and we are an adaptable, innovative community. And furthermore, that change that occurs, that force that's applied on industry, does not make that industry flee to India or China.